Hi, this is Lee Langdon. Today on the podcast, I visit with Carly Talley. Carly is on the tail end of her battle with cancer, and she is winning. But she is first and foremost a follower of Jesus, and her intimate walk with God has been her salvation through it all. Carly is really creative, and let me tell you, from my own experience, an excellent cook. I hope you get to know Carly better through our conversation today. Okay, guys, welcome to episode 26. Let's jump in. Welcome to the Young Adult World podcast. Carly Talley, welcome to the Young Adult World podcast.
Hello.
Hello.
Happy to be here.
I've been excited to have you on the podcast since we started, so this is going to be fun.
Yeah.
Carly, where were you born?
I was born in Lubbock, Texas, but I was raised right outside of Lubbock in a small town called Shallow Water, Texas.
Shallow Water.
Shallow Water.
Cool.
Makes sense. Doesn't ever rain, dry. Yeah. That's where I grew up.
How long did you live there?
Pretty much my entire life. I lived in Lubbock for like my first 3 years, moved to Shallow Water because my mom was a teacher out there, went to school there, and I think we moved from Shallow Water to Wolfforth whenever I was 17. So what is that, 14 years?
Okay.
And lived in Wolfforth for about 3 years.
So you went to elementary school in Shallow Water?
Elementary through high school.
Through high school.
Mm-hmm.
What's your first memory that you can remember?
My earliest childhood memory actually has to do with me being in the hospital. I had pneumonia when I was like 3 or 4, being taken around in a wagon throughout the hospital, like with a blanket and a wagon and a bag of Cheetos. And they're just like carting me from place to place. Friends coming to visit me and would play in like the playroom at the hospital.
Wow. So your parents, obviously they were in church. Have you guys, were they in church at that time? Was church always part of your family background?
For me, it was. I was raised in the church. My dad's dad, so my papa, was a preacher in Friona, Texas for a long time and several places before that. But that's kind of where he spent the most of his time ministering, was in Friona. My mom was kind of raised in and out of the church, but whenever she met my dad in high school, well, I guess earlier than that, I think middle school, and then when they started dating, she went to church with him, and so it's pretty much been a part of my history for as long as I've been around, but for even longer for sure.
You have siblings?
I do. I have an older brother named Tyler and his wife, Tori. And then I have a little sister, Emma, who's in the young adults class. I also feel like I can't leave out. I have the cutest niece ever. Oh. My brother's little girl.
Okay, so back to elementary school. What were you interested in when you were a kid? What did you like to do for fun? I
loved cooking. We spent a lot of time in the kitchen with my mom growing up. It was always helping her with meals and baking for things. So cooking, I've always loved just spending time outside. I will literally just sit outside. I don't need to be occupied.
That's cool.
I've always loved creative things. So painting, drawing, sewing, any sort of creative outlet. I'm open to trying it even still now. Just let me create something.
I feel like I've seen drawings of yours or paintings or something. I've seen something, haven't I?
I've painted before. I actually, fun fact, whenever I was in 8th grade, got a National Scholastic Art Award. I got a silver key nationally, so I went through all the rounds before that, got gold keys, nationally got silver key, got a free trip to New York City, and my art was displayed at Carnegie Hall, and I got an award. Yeah.
Well, how old were you?
I was in 8th grade, so what was that, 13?
That's unbelievable. I'm totally shocked by that. You're really good at cooking. I know this because I've eaten your food, and you're really good at it. So you learned from your mom. This is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. You like to bake? Are there certain things that you like to cook more than others?
Certain things I like to cook. I like baking more. We actually had a family business for a while, for I think 2 or 3 summers, selling cinnamon rolls at a farmer's market.
Oh, wow.
And so every Friday we would probably make at least 80 dozen cinnamon rolls, and next
Wow.
morning turn around and sell them at the farmer's market. It got really big for a while, and then we kind of got tired. It got to be a lot and took a summer off. But
Wow.
yeah, so cinnamon rolls are kind of our thing.
That's cool.
It's what I guess we're known for. My mom still makes them, is asked to make them frequently.
Have you created your own recipes then?
Not necessarily. It's usually I know what things go in a recipe, and I just guess the measurements.
Yeah. So you move into high school, kind of getting older, same interest? You're still interested in the same things as you get older?
In high school, I got really involved in theater, and I did that all 4 years. We actually went to state my senior year. I was actually the light person. Like, I was in the light and sound booth.
Yeah.
Running all the technical stuff. I feel like it's not something people know about me really, is that I'm not good with technology. I will say that. That was just a one-off thing. Don't know how that happened. But yeah, I really loved theater.
That's really cool. It's interesting. A lot of times I'll have people on here and they'll talk about their time in the theater, but they're not talking about backstage.
And I did all the lights and I helped with sound some, but a lot of it is also just watching the play over and over and over again and trying to help refine it and find what spots you can do something different, something that might be better. And so that was also really fun, is because I was on the other side of it watching this whole thing play out.
Yeah.
I could really see, like, wait, what if you tried doing it this way instead of this? And so that was really fun too.
You're active in your church?
Oh, very. My church was like my people. Like, the church was like my people. I like had friends at school, but like I knew that like Wednesdays and Sundays were my favorite days, because I was like, those are where my friends are. Like, those are the people that I want to spend my time with. I was very involved with the church. I mean, my whole family was. I remember doing mission trips and service projects, all the activities with my brother and sister there. Usually my mom and dad were involved in some way or another.
So I'm just curious, were there certain things, maybe even in your youth group years, that were very, very formative to you?
We had a mission trip every summer. And usually it was super exciting when they would announce where you were going on the mission trip, and it was like, oh, we're traveling out of the country, we're going to Mexico or whatever it is. But I remember them announcing, we're staying local, we're going to stay in Lubbock and do a mission trip there. And everybody was kind of like, what? And as we kind of prepared for it, and once like the trip actually came around, the whole point of it was that you don't have to travel to do good work, to do missions, to reach people. And at first I was like, yeah, I know, but I want to travel, like I want to go somewhere. But I think I probably got the most out of that mission trip than I did any of my other 3 years, like 3 years of mission trips. Just because, like, I didn't realize for sure how much work there was to be done in my small town of Lubbock.
Yeah, there's so much good to be done right around you and in your life. And that's awesome. It sounds like early on there were some seeds planted I think God really cares about those things.
The biggest thing overall was just making me aware that there's work to be done where I'm at now. I don't have to go somewhere to do something good, to do something, to step out of my comfort zone.
You, as we already mentioned, you went to OC. And what did you study when you were at OC?
I studied interior design and architecture. That's what my degree is in.
Wow.
Stuck with that all 4 years.
Yeah. What was your end goal? What were you hoping to do?
I had really big dreams. First thing, not realizing how realistic they are. I mean, and it's still my goal now, but I was thinking right out of college, I could be like an actual interior designer and like flip houses. That's the goal. It was the goal right out of college, and it's still the goal now. The more low-key Chip and Joanna Gaines is the goal. I don't want to be on TV, but
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So that's like when you think about, man, if I could spend every day doing this, that would really fill you up. That would be the thing.
Yes. It's creating, but on a large scale.
I feel like you're thinking it might take some time to get there. So are you doing something right now that's kind of teaching you along the way?
Yeah, I would say so. The job that I currently have is it's teaching me a lot for sure. I'm learning a lot more of the actual construction process and just learning how to communicate with other builders and just like having that foundational knowledge is going to be so much more helpful further, like later on, being able to just understand all the small things that happen. And honestly, the goal is to flip houses, but my goal before that is to just be like a superintendent or like a project manager.
Really?
Like be on site and managing the people that are doing the work. That sounds like a lot of fun to me right now.
Wow, that's cool.
Yeah.
What does the date 11/24/2023 mean to you?
Wow. That is my diagnosis date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a big day in your life.
Mm-hmm.
What were you diagnosed with?
I was diagnosed with stage 4 Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Yeah, that was a big day for you and your family, I would imagine.
Mm-hmm.
What was it like when you heard that news?
At first, I don't know, because it had been a little while of trying to get some sort of diagnosis. And so whenever it first happened, it was kind of just like a little bit of relief, like, okay, we know what this is. And I think it took a few days to like really set in, to like realize what that means, like what I was getting myself into. It was hard. Oh, man.
So you had some symptoms then that you were trying to figure out what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
What were you experiencing?
Well, it all kind of started with what I thought was like a sinus infection that I couldn't get rid of. Eventually I had a lymph node in my neck, kind of right above my collarbone, that started swelling, and like it was like pretty firm to the touch. And whenever I would go to the doctor, they were like, oh, that happens sometimes. Sometimes lymph nodes just swell. And I got tested for everything under the sun. No COVID, no strep, no, what was it? There was something else going around at the time. Tested for all the like more of the low-key diagnoses and got nothing. And then eventually one of the doctors was like, you need to go get an ultrasound on that. And so I finally did that, got some blood work done, and then it still wasn't even really, we still weren't sure if it was some weird infection or if it was the C word.
Yeah.
And then we decided to, what happened after that? There were so many things that happened. I had to get I got blood work done 1,000,000 times, and I had my doctor, we had been trying to coordinate when I was home, a time to get a CT scan done, but insurance was fighting us, and so it kept getting delayed. And then finally the day after Thanksgiving, they called me in, was like, hey, this doctor knows you're coming. Go straight there and they can run a scan. And that's what happened. I was at a little emergency clinic and got my scan done, went, and I was sitting in the waiting room. They were running some fluids before I could go home, and my doctor called me. What was crazy is I remember sitting in my room, the door was like barely cracked, and I could hear the doctor that had like ran the scan for me talking to my doctor on the phone. And that's when he said that I had cancer.
Yeah. Wow.
And then I drove home and gave all my family a hug.
Okay.
Yeah.
And this was in Lubbock.
Mm-hmm.
All this happened in Lubbock.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So you are dealing now with this news. So what did they say? You have to go into surgery right away, or what was the first thing to happen?
What they knew they needed to do was, in order to get to figure out what type of cancer, because at that point we only knew that the lymph node was cancerous, or like that spot was cancerous. And so we needed to do a biopsy. And so I went into surgery not too much longer. It might have been like a little over a week later. And I knew that I was going into it for a biopsy. There was a possibility of me getting a port. I knew that whenever they were putting me under, I was like, if I wake up with a port in, like, I know this is the real deal. Because I think part of me was still hoping that, like, they would do the biopsy and it was some crazy virus. and that it wouldn't
Right.
be real. Because
Yeah.
at that point, I had had a little time to sit with it. And like, I was like, I don't want that. I don't want cancer.
Yeah.
And so I
Yeah.
knew that if I had a port, if I woke up with port, then like it was real. I woke up a few hours later. They ended up removing the whole lymph node instead of just doing a biopsy. And I had a port, and I was like, all right,
Here we go.
here we go.
Yeah.
I was diagnosed right after Thanksgiving, started chemo before Christmas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It was, very rapid because the kind of cancer. So my cells, they had to do the biopsy. They sent it off to Austin, and the cells had changed from what my previous blood work was showing. And so they knew that this cancer was like working, like it was changing, like it was, I don't know. It was very busy. That's what I'll say. So they knew that they needed to get me started on chemo very quickly. So I started chemo, a very hardcore regimen called ABVD. And I remember soon after, I think after my first treatment, I was finally able to get a PET scan, which shows where all the cancer is in your body. And whenever I got to see the results of that, it was wild. It was like from chin to like pelvis. It was like lit up like a Christmas tree, like maybe like 50 lymph nodes, just like all the way down my torso.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And it was actually, which is why it was stage 4, is because it was in my pelvic bone. It was in my bone marrow. And so started chemo pretty quickly.
So you did a round of chemo, and then, I mean, was that successful? Did it?
Whenever I finished, so I was probably 3/4 of the way done with the first 12 treatments, which is like that the whole chemo treatment was 12 treatments. So I was about 3/4 of the way done. I had a PET scan, and it came back kind of not inconclusive, but they were saying that the cancer had replaced itself with what's called brown fat. And it shows up on a PET scan the same way that cancer cells do. And so they had to review it for a long time in order to say that I was cancer free. I was pretty much told that I was cancer free 3/4 of the way through, but I was going to finish up the treatment just in case. And so I finished treatment, had a few months of a break, had to follow up. Cancer again. There was 2 more spots in my neck. Had another biopsy to confirm that's what it was. Sure enough, it's cancer again. And so started treatment again.
A setback that probably just was so discouraging.
I'm not 100% convinced that it was completely gone because of the results previously kind of being inconclusive. So anyways, that's up to the doctors, I suppose. But then I did a few rounds of treatment. Then I had a stem cell transplant in February.
Can you talk about the stem cell transplant just a little bit? What was that about?
I'm not sure if I even understand all the sciencey stuff behind it. I just know that it's supposed to like restart my body essentially and hope that the cancer cells don't grow back. But as far as the process for all that goes, I actually I donated my own stem cells. And so what I had to do for a long time was I had to take a lot of shots that increased my stem cell count. Then I went for 2 or 3 days in a row to donate my own stem cells. And that's a very long process. You just sit there for hours. I also had to get a central line placed, which just more gear. Yeah.
Attached to you. Yeah.
Pretty soon after I finished, they finished harvesting my stem cells, was admitted to the hospital, and I knew I'd be there for about a month was the plan. They always say the really good patients get out sooner. So that was my goal. And I did achieve it, barely, but I did.
And that was kind of like, nobody can come see me because it was you had to be very careful.
It literally wipes out your immune system.
Yeah.
So no white blood cell counts, all your hemoglobin's down, everything, all your counts are down. The whole point of it is literally just to restart everything. And so even now I'm still building back all those counts. I'm still not to where I was before that. But, and I'm having to to get all of my vaccinations from since I was an infant. Got to start that whole process over.
Yeah.
So I am cancer free
Okay.
as of January. So right now I am doing a maintenance chemo, which is essentially supposed to just like guide my stem cells and not let them grow cancer cells, or however that works. I will be doing maintenance chemo for till next April. I started in April and I'll end next April. So
Wow.
every 3 weeks until next April.
How does the chemo right now affecting you?
It's really not bad at all compared to what I've been through.
Yeah.
So I get a little bit sick maybe for 3 or 4 days after I have a treatment, but then I have about 2 weeks of feeling really good. So honestly, it's great.
Yeah.
I am very happy with how things are going right now. I would say the only kind of frustrating side effect is I have really bad neuropathy in my feet. And so just like the nerves are being damaged, and I can't really feel the ground when I walk.
Oh, wow.
It is like just tingly. Like whenever your feet fall asleep, that's what it feels like, but like 24/7 for me.
All the time.
Mm-hmm.
Are they anticipating that coming back? Will that be fixed?
It's actually, the chemo I'm on right now has a high risk of making it worse. And so it's possible the feeling could come back after I finish chemo in April.
You lost all of your hair.
I did.
But your hair, you've got hair.
I do.
So that's awesome.
Yeah. That was probably one of the hardest things I had to deal with, because I remember whenever I was being called to, like whenever the doctor called me to tell me that I would need to start chemo, I remember that was one of the first questions I asked was, am I going to lose my hair? I remember sitting on the couch with my sister when I had that phone call, and they said, yeah, you're going to lose your hair. And I just started crying, because like that is, I'm even going to tear up now, but there's something about it. It's like a safety blanket. It's part of your identity. I don't know. And so losing that and becoming and just being bald, I think it also, what I didn't like so much was that it made me more identifiable, the fact that I had cancer. Like I didn't want people to look at me and be able to see that like, oh, like because she's bald, I know she has cancer. I didn't want it to be that obvious. I didn't want people, I don't know, to see that that was something I was going through. It's just, that was hard for me.
Sure.
To know that people were able to
Yeah.
see what I was going through just by the fact that I didn't have hair.
Yeah.
I have empathy for guys now, because you have to do it.
Yeah.
Like you can't just wake up and roll out of bed.
Yeah.
It's nice, but it's kind of annoying sometimes.
Been impressed, and I've talked with you about this many times, and it's been obvious that your faith has stayed with you all the way through this. You have held on to God a lot, and I've loved that. Actually, you have a verse that means a lot to you, and you've shared this with our young adult ministry. I just want to read it. Can I do that?
Yeah.
Philippians 4:4-8. Rejoice in the Lord always. I will say it again. Rejoice. Let your gentleness be evident to all. The Lord is near. Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. Finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. Tell me about your faith as you've gone through this.
Whenever I was first diagnosed, one of the biggest things I was scared of was that I was going to lose myself in all of it. And so for sure it was a goal that I was like, I am going to walk through this with God. Like, this is not my journey. This is our journey. And so I knew that everything that I had, like, it was best to just give it to him, because he already knew what was happening before it was going to happen, and he's in control. So I love to say, like, thank goodness it's not up to me, you know? So this verse for sure has a lot of really encouraging things in it, just ways to guide your thinking. Speaking those truths into your life, the things that God tells you are for sure, and looking for the happy things, the good things that are going on through the hard stuff. That was for sure one of the biggest things too, was being like, yeah, I feel really bad today, but you know what? I'm here with my parents who love me and are taking care of me. And I got so many letters. I'm getting cards from people all the time of people encouraging me, and just being able to look for those positive things that God is sending my way. It's honestly impossible to not walk through something like that and see God. I don't know how I would have done it without him. Thank goodness I didn't have to.
Okay, this is something I'm going to go through with God. This isn't something I'm going to do without him. Like, thank the Lord, thank him that he's with me. That's amazing. Like, he was really near to you. Is this something you felt when you were sitting there getting your chemo treatments, or when you were...
I mean, I was also doing everything I could to just fill my days with worship, with like, I would listen to, believe it or not, I listened to old recordings of WOW over and over and over again while I was getting chemo treatments done, or just when I was laying in bed and I felt tired, I would just listen to worship music. And I definitely say that I felt his presence in those really hard moments that I was feeling horrible or just was having a bad day. I remember just saying like God, just be with me, like, or just immediately start praying, because I wanted whatever was happening in that moment to disappear.
Yeah.
And so just knowing that if God's presence was with me, that I would feel comfort and peace of mind, knowing that I'm gonna be okay. I'm not doing this alone.
Yeah. I can't love that more. I was reading in Jeremiah this morning, even when God gave him a message to tell to people in Jerusalem, and they wanted the king wanted to kill him. And he's like, you know what? You can do whatever you want with me, but I've got to do what God tells me to do. And he had such confidence because he believed that the Lord was with him. And I'm getting the same sense from you. And it's such a blessing to me. I can't tell you how encouraging it is to me. Oh, I just love it. But if I ever have to go through something, I've seen somebody who's done it really well. And I'm so grateful for that. So thank you.
Well, thank you.
And thanks for sharing and going through that. I know that was not easy for you, but for telling us and helping us experience that a little bit through your emotions and your feelings.
Of course. Something that I whenever I have conversations with people, I love when people are curious about it, because like I want people to know, because it's becoming a more and more common thing, and I want people to be able to feel comfortable about having hard conversations, uncomfortable conversations.
Yeah.
And so if anybody's curious, I'm happy to talk about it.
How have you changed in the last 3 years?
I feel like I'm not at all the same person, honestly.
Yeah.
I have been through so much. I feel like I've been softened a lot. Just living every day to the fullest, trying to be grateful for all the little things. That's one of the biggest things I pulled out of all of this, is just just being more grateful for what I do have and the life that I live, appreciating the little things and finding joy in the small things. That's what life's about.
Yeah.
So I don't know. And I'm definitely much closer to God, because you can't go through an experience like that and not really feel him working in your life. So,
well, I have a speed round I want to take you through.
All right, let's
Are you
do
ready?
it. Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, Carly's speed round. We're going to ask you some quick fire questions, and we'll see how you respond. Here we go.
Oh, no.
Beach or mountains?
Mountains.
Wow, that was fast. Okay. Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Favorite pizza topping?
Pepperoni.
Favorite zoo animal?
Zebra.
Hey, did you know they just had a new zebra born at the zoo?
I didn't.
We were the first ones to see it.
I'm going to have to go.
Yeah, he's so cute. Okay, yes or no? Are you excited about Taylor Swift's new album coming out?
No.
Okay. What's the best number between 1 and 10?
I was going to say 11, but that doesn't work. 9.
9, okay. Is 11 your number, though?
No.
Okay, 9. Other than Jesus, who is the person in the Bible that you connect most with?
Man, I wasn't ready for that one.
Let me rephrase the question. Other than Jesus, who is a person in the Bible that you connect with?
It's the same question.
Not most with.
Can I say anyone in the Psalms that's crying out out to God? Because there's a bunch of people.
Yeah.
I can relate with all of them.
I guess that's a good answer. I love that. There's some, okay. Do you have a favorite psalm since we're in it?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay.
Nothing. It's like,
yeah.
Okay.
Chocolate or candy?
Chocolate.
You have a favorite chocolate?
Dark chocolate. Just anything dark chocolate. Dove dark chocolate is probably the best.
Nice.
But I love dark chocolate.
This is good to know. Okay. Billy Joel or Elton John?
Billy Joel.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad you said Billy Joel. I'm sorry. Elton John fans love it. That's great. I like Elton John too, but Billy Joel. Okay. Best book you've read so far in your life? How about that question?
I'm not a reader, so this...
But you've read books before.
Yeah. Oh, I'm trying to think of... I can see the cover of it, and it's red. It's going to come to me. I think we did a Bible, like one of the book clubs.
The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry.
Yes, The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. That's a great book.
John Mark Comer. It is so good.
Yes.
Carly, you are in a small group, right?
I am.
Yes. What's the name of your small group?
The OGs, which is funny because I was not part of the OG group. I joined later.
Yeah. Oh, man, that is such a great small group, and we've had a number of them on your small group people on the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
That's awesome. I'm glad you're part of that. And you go to the launch class.
I do.
Yes. Excellent. So, if you haven't met Carly yet, you can introduce yourself in launch. She's fantastic. You will love getting to know her, so make sure you do that. Carly, thanks so much for being on the Young Adult World podcast.
Thank you for having me.
This has been awesome.
I know, I've loved it too.
Awesome. Well, thanks. Hey, thanks for joining us today. I hope this conversation was meaningful to you. Come find us on Instagram. Our profile is Young Adult World Podcast. Tell us what you connected with during our podcast today. This podcast is part of the Young Adult Ministry at the Memorial Road Church of Christ in Edmond, Oklahoma. Come join us sometime. There's plenty of room for everyone. If you want to reach out to us, don't hesitate to email us at youngadultworldpodcast@gmail.com. And we are so grateful for Jacob's statement. Jacob is a young adult who edits this podcast for us and keeps this thing going. So thanks, Jacob. Okay, guys, see you next time for another Young Adult World conversation.